We are delighted to welcome you to the International Journal Publication Workshop in Aston Jambi Hotel and Conference Center.
It's an honor to me to introduce and welcome our guest today, His Excellency, Rector of Jambi University, Dr. H. M.Sc, Ph.D.
Respectable Dean of the Science and Technology Faculty, Dr. Jeffrey Nazar, M.Sc.
The Honorable Structure of Today Workshop, Dr. Volkan Degirmenci from University of Warwick.
The Honorable Professor Warwick, S.Pd, Ph.D, the Secretary of Doctoral Education Major from Jambi University.
The Honorable Professor Dr. Anders Mason, M.Sc, Ph.D. from Physics Education Major as an instructor and the moderator for our workshop today.
Honorable Chief of the Committee and our instructor for this event, Mr. Nazaruddin, M.Sc, Ph.D.
And the last but not least, the respectable participation of today's workshop.
I, Jessica Christie, and my partner
Nicholas Simanjuntak
will be the master of ceremony for today's workshop with the theme International Journal Publication. The workshop will be divided into two sessions, which Dr. Volkan and Mr. Nazaruddin will talk about tips and how to write international academic paper. And after a break, the next session will be continued with fine-tuning of manuscript sent with participants.
For a brief moment, we would like to invite you all to raise and sing Indonesian until Indonesia by. May all participants stand in front of your seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now in the opening session. Without further ado, let us hear a welcome speech from the chief of the committee of today's event. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Nazaruddin, S.Sc, M.Sc, Ph.D.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Our honorable Dean of Faculty Science and Technology, University of Jambi, and our guest, our visiting professor, and our instructor today, Dr. Volkan Degirmenci, our
Mr. Warwick, Professor Mason, and the next maybe will come next, Professor Zuas here, and all the participants. Today, this morning, we are going to join the workshop that I hope will produce something good. That means we can publish. All the participants, I hope, can publish all of you manuscript to a good journals. I think this is the best opportunity for us to learn more about how to write manuscript and how to publish our manuscript to the best or to the journal which suitable or fixed with our manuscript. I mean, if we start to submit our paper to very good journal or the Q1 with the big impact factor, maybe we can get some difficulties, but the best for us is to find the good journal for our manuscript. I think now we have a chance to learn from the respective lecturer from University of Warwick, Dr. Volkan Degirmenci, and also from our college, Professor Mason and Professor Warwick, how to write our manuscript and how to publish our manuscript. I think I have to say big thank you to Dr. Volkan to come here. I very appreciate. This is take long from England to come in Jambi, maybe 14, 16 hours flight. I think now is soon and sleep time in the UK, but we still try to wake up in the morning. I just worry a bit maybe because this happened to me when I was there. Just about 3 or 4 days I get little sleep when I was in the Warwick, and then when I get used to the sleep time in the Warwick, I just back to Indonesia and I get the same thing again for 3 or 4 days to get used to in the Indonesian time. I hope you get adapt this situation soon and get well and enjoy your stay in Jambi, and maybe tomorrow we can get around, just find a good cafe and try some coffee in Jambi. I think thank you very much for Pak Mason and Pak Warwick, and then also the Honorable Mr. Dean, Dr. Jeffrey Masal, to come here, and I ask voluntarily to you to open this ceremony. And I say the last, just follow the student, the MC, ceremony. Last part. Okay, I say thank you very much for everyone. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Hazel, for the welcoming speech.
We are now going to listen to the welcome speech delivered by the Dean of Science and Technology Faculty, Jambi University. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Jeffrey Masal, M.Sc. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Our honorable the instructor from UK, Dr. Volkan. Welcome to Jambi. I think we will have a good experience in Jambi. We have a big river here, and we also have very old people from the 7th century. I think Pak Azhar will go around or accompany you to travel tomorrow or the next. So welcome again in Jambi province. The honorable our professor Pak Maison and all the participants, and also the head of this event, Azharuddin. Thank you for your initiation to bring this event to Faculty of Science and Technology, and also dear participants and all the committee in this event. First, I would like to express my appreciation to the event committee, Pak Azhar and team who already initiate this program. This is a very important program for this faculty for University of Jambi, because in this event we will get the knowledge and skill how to produce a good paper that we will submit to the proper journal and conference. So I think I will follow as well this program, Pak Azhar, and we are very happy as well with our instructors, Dr. Volkan, who already makes a very high effort to come to our university and share his knowledge about how to create, how to make a good articles. So I hope every participant here gets the advantage of this event. Try your best to produce a good article. Hopefully, your paper will be submitted soon, and then, of course, it will be gives a good benefit to our faculty and Universitas as well. I think that's all. In the name of Allah, I obviously open this workshop. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Mr. Jeffrey, for the welcoming speech.
Now, let us begin this event with a moment of reflection. I invite the representative of our company to lead us in prayer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Marilah kita sejenak bersama menundukkan kepala dan mengajak kepada Allah agar kegiatan kita hari ini diberkati dan bisa berjalan dengan lancar. Sebelumnya, izinkan saya memimpin doa secara Islami bagi yang muslim dan muslimat. A'udzubillahiminasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma shalli ala sayyidina Ibrahim. هذا يعطينا ويكفي مسجدا يا ربنا لك كما ينبغي لجلالك وجهك الكريم آتينا سلطان ya Allah ya Rahman, pada hari ini pagi yang cerah ini kami hendak menyelenggarakan acara Internasional Publikasi Jurnal Workshop dengan memohon ridha dan izinmu berkahilah semua langkah dan perbuatan kami
Jadikanlah itu semua nilai ibadah dan nilai ilmu yang bermanfaat bagi kami. Ya Allah, ya Wahid, Kau yang Maha mempersatukan. Kami mohon perkuatkanlah persatuan di antara kami. Janganlah Engkau adakan perpecahan di antara kami. Kami ingin kuat dalam persatuan ini agar lebih bermanfaat untuk agama, negara, dan bangsa ini. Ya Allah, ya Ghafur, Engkau yang Maha Pengampun atas segala dosa. Ampunilah dosa kami, dosa orang tua kami, dosa para pemimpin kami, dan dosa para pejuang, serta dosa para pendahulu kami. Tempatkanlah kami dan mereka semua ini dalam lindungan rahmat dan ampunan. Rabbi sahbi sadri wa yassir li amri walau tatami lisani yaqulu qawli. Ya Tuhanku, lapangkanlah dada kami, lancarkanlah kegiatan kami, serta mudahkanlah urusan kami. Allahumma arinal haqqa warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arinal batila batila warzuqna ijtinabah. Ya Allah yang suci, Engkau yang Maha mengabulkan doa. Perkenankanlah permohonan dan doa kami. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we have to come to our main agenda. The workshop session, our presentation and discussion will be moderated by our moderator, Mr. Nazar.
Ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of the opening session. Let us close this session by reciting Hamdalah, Alhamdulillah. Let us begin the second session of the workshop. I, Jessica Christie, and my partner,
Nicholas Degirmenci, Juta.
sign off. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
You want to sit here or just sit here? Okay. Just give things that yes, this no, I didn't. Akan saya could you have support the presentation? Yeah. It's okay. I can see you. I just so I just yeah, I did this right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. You have was the PhD? Okay. So it is. Baik, pakai kamera HP biar share bisa dua ya foto-foto banyak ya.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. All the participants. Now we're going to the same talk from Dr. Volkan about how to publish our manuscript or paper in the International Journal. First of all, I want to introduce Mr. Volkan. Mr. Volkan is Associate Professor and Director of International Partnership, Coordinators of M.Sc. Computer Engineering, School of Engineering, University of Warwick, and he has a lot of experience published, and in this his program Ph.D. he has published already 62 papers in the scientific journal with high index. I think now 26. I think your CV is 25. But last I checked in the Scopus, your index is 26, and the total citizen has more than 2,000, and he obtained his associate professor started from January 2015 until now, and his education is got his Ph.D. from University of Middle East Technical University and Department of Chemical Engineering, and Master of Engineering from the same university, Middle East Technical University, Department of Chemical.
Thank you, Mr. Nazaruddin. Nice to meet you, Mr. Volkan. Maybe I'm not too good in English, but I'm trying to speak in English. First of all, I want to introduce myself. My name is Zuas. I'm from chemical engineering. Now I'm still a doctor in ITB. In ITB in Bandung, in Bandung University. I want to ask about some questions to Mr. Volkan. In Jambi University, there's chemical engineering, Mr. Volkan, but we are in 8 years. Before that, I'm here that you from chemical engineering too, but your major in research is not only in chemical but also in chemistry. Can you explain about can you explain chemical engineering in Warwick, especially it can be improved in our chemical engineering here. Mr. Nazaruddin is from chemical engineering here, and then there is Mr. Salam here. This is also in chemical engineering. Maybe we can improve not only in how to make a student to become Ph.D. there. There's there is our student is from chemical engineering too, Mr. Volkan. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, it's a nice point. So at Warwick, I'm in the School of Engineering. So chemical engineering is a small group there. I can say we are mostly under the mechanical and materials engineering, but like a chemical engineering research group, we call ourselves. So and everyone is like doing mostly catalysis and chemical reaction engineering. So we don't have any other group, so that's helping us because everyone is like very complementary. So I do most like catalysis, heterogeneous catalysis. I have a colleague who's doing mostly reactive design, and we have another colleague who is doing more fundamental, again, catalysis research, but looking at reaction mechanisms. So all these three topics are like very much how to say, complementing each other. And then we have an electrocatalysis these days. And that's why this like a group is well designed, I can say that. So in the chemical reaction engineering field, if you divide chemical engineering into different subjects, chemical reaction engineering field, we are covering all the areas. So this is how it is organized at work. I don't know, Jambi, of course, if when you're department, like department of chemical engineering, you need to have, of course, people who are in separation, maybe. You need to have some obviously on the process control. You need to have so these are all like other groups as well. You need to have all of them too. So we are small, so that's why we are benefiting from that, and we are only looking after the chemical reaction engineering. And this is how we are designed. But we don't have an undergraduate degree in chemical engineering, but we have some master's programs which are relevant. So we are all teaching in the master level, so we can accept students in master and PhD levels. So it's more like a research-oriented approach, I can say. So it's not expanded. So this was also a decision, I think, my firms made, like to expand further, but have this small cluster, one topic, and that topic is not divert too much to the other areas. So I think. If you want to take an example of work, everywhere is different. Of course, you can take some other examples as well, but if you want to take an example of work, we are quite conscious of knowing what we are doing, so what we are good at. So you can think about more specializing in Jambi and making a master. You can have the department to be known for separation processes. You can have the department known for reaction engineering, or catalysis, or electrochemistry, or chemistry. So you can pick up some sort of field, I can say from our experience and then focus on that theme only. And nowadays research is very interdisciplinary. I'm sure many academics in your department can work on a similar topic. So like if you think about energy, we want to be, I'll say, leading university in the leading department in the field of energy, you can say, and then you can ask everyone to organize or orient themselves towards that field, that field. And that gives you like some sort of direction and guidance, and you are more focused. So in our case, we are a chemical reaction engineering group, so we have guys supporting microreactors, reacting start, and anti-detergents, possibly some my colleagues are doing this kinetics topic. So it's covering the topic field quite nicely. I don't know if it's a good answer or bad, but this is our example.
Okay, a little bit Mr. Volkan, is there any chance for us to have funding in research, or maybe a collaboration between Warwick from
yes, for me, definitely. I mean, this one was from this this technology. No, what? To green? No, it wasn't green. Minister of it was the Minister of Education in Indonesia in this project. Right, so this is how it came. So usually there are some this kind of calls opening. So in UK we call them Newton funds. In the past there were little Newton fundings, and there was lots of money behind Newton funding. And before this one, Nazareth and some colleagues in chemistry. Now I'm doing chemistry from Jakarta. We have this Newton fund grants in the past, and it allowed us to have some student exchanges. So I hosted various students from UI, Universitas Indonesia, and they came to my laboratory, did some work, materials, and went back, and then we published together. So that money was coming from the Newton Fund in the UK. At the moment, the calls are not open, so when the calls are open, I will definitely communicate with you, but the name is quite famous, Newton Fund. You can also have a look at it by yourself. It's usually designed to have collaborations between UK and the international country like UK and Vietnam, UK and Malaysia, UK and Indonesia. So it's kind of bilateral collaboration funds. They open in every in every 2 years or 3 years. So it's not open this year yet, but maybe next year it will be open, and I will be very happy to apply and to try to
Thank you, Mr. Volkan.
I will definitely avoid that what you reference and then just sit up. And anyone want to ask something? Yeah. Before we discuss about the publication, because okay, absolutely. Good. Boleh tanya. Saya lupa namanya, sorry apa? Saya menurut, silakan. Please, just right.
Thank you, Mr. Nazarudin. Welcome, Mr. Volkan. My name is Nurul Pratidi. You can call me Nurul. I'm a lecturer from chemistry. I just came to Warwick website just now, and this is very interesting because in the Department of Chemistry in Warwick, the doctors don't seem like things got this year. The interesting that I found here, there is a funded Ph.D. open, but
And I want to ask if the theme of the research is not based on what we in this, can we get a funded PhD?
Public PhD is the academic usually has to find the funds, and then it's like it's more difficult to start from that way. I think easy way if you want to come to Warwick is to find the LPDP and then come. But it is not usually the person who has the funding announces it, has to announce it. So it's like, for example, findmyphd.com, some on the Warwick pages, like searching for your PhD, looking for like positions. So if you have the funds, you need to openly announce it, and then you open it for everyone to apply. So you need to go through an interview process, like a selection process. Without selection, a funded PhD cannot be given to anyone. So there is no, direct giving it to students by the academics. So it's a little bit UK system. I know that in some other countries you can directly write to the professor, and if he has the funding, he can say like, I'm giving it to you or I'm not giving it to you. So this is the policy of the professor in other universities, like in America, for example, Germany, etc. But in UK, you have to go through this selection process. If the academic has the funding, so I have to announce it if I have money to make with the students, at least for 3 weeks minimum. Web page, which is not more than the amount of countries, or usually like English.com or like our web pages, we always have to announce it, and then we usually receive like hundreds of applications, or so many, and then you have to do the selection process, and I can't be the only person selecting it, so there should be like 2 or 3 more people. The committee is formed. And everyone should agree, like, who I am going to recruit. Although it's my money, although it's my company, so it's only my students, I need to have this committee formed, I need to have all this procedure going forward. So these kind of funded PhDs usually work for local students, and they are sometimes specified, like only UK, home applicants, only UK, EU and UK. So this kind of relationship. If you see, don't apply to them because you have no chance and you can say if it's saying like open for international applications, then you have a chance, but then it's open to the whole world. So anyone from all around the world can apply. So you can't have that. It's like a hugely competitive process, and you don't talk about it. It's a very, you shouldn't be discouraged. You should apply many of them because it's like you can decide out of hundreds. Students with a very little information, like which one to get. So it's usually a lot of it. And usually academics announce it on their own. So the best way is to find a field that you are comfortable with and write to the person in that field. And they will guide you if they are funding or something. But the better way is to apply to something together. And like when you're applying to, for example, you know that you're going to work and try to do it together. So there are some funding, sometimes not maximum, there's not open, but sometimes, for example, the speaking funds for like Royal Society of Chemistry or Royal Society in UK opens this PhD like fundings that the student has to apply with the supervisor from UK. So those are higher chances. So if you apply to a Royal Society funding to PhD together with the supervisor from UK, then the number of applicants reduce. Understand? So those kind of funding calls have higher chances for you to get this. But the others, I don't want to discourage you. You can apply, but it's still a bit of a lottery. So you can go, for example, to academics, their web pages, and then I'm sure they have their email addresses. Write to them. I'm looking for a PhD. Do you have any positions or any funding available? and see if they know something, they reply to you, or comments, also they reply. So you need to write to many people in that sense, in this way. So that's the difficult part. So if you have your own funding already, you be used to the funding to go anywhere that you like to do a PhD, then it's much easier. If you say to me like, oh, I have my funding, I'm looking for a place to go, then I will be more positive because I don't need to do all this application process, etc. Then I will start talking about research project or background, and you have a much higher chance that if you have already the funding. So this funding is usually like a limited factor. And how to overcome it? Yes, either you apply to do this kind of attitude or whatever, or maybe staff exchange program between two universities, etc. They have higher chances, or like together with the supervisor to apply somewhere has higher chances. Yeah.
Thank you. Another? Anyone want to ask? Pusat? Guri?
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. My name is S.Pd, and I am a chemical engineering student. I would like to ask, first of all, I would like to say that I actually don't really understand what PhD and what it's for. It's like, yeah, I know that it's like sort of what you can have as a student, like as an undergrad, you actually can, after going to college, can you get immediately a PhD, or do you have like some sort of process that you have to go through first, or do I have to go to the industry first and then get a PhD? And like, what does PhD? Can I use it for the industry, or does PhD only for lecturers?
That's a very good question. I think this is like a very difficult question. Thank you very much. It's very confusing. I agree with you. Like, what's in Stanford? That's the difficult part to answer. The easy part to answer is like how I get into college. The answer to all of the questions that you ask is yes. You can go to industry and then go back to university. You can go to college and finish it and your marks are quite high. You can directly start with a PhD. If your marks are not like super high, you can come to have a master's degree, and then after master's degree, you will have like a good marks. I mean, in terms of academic background, just after college, there's many universities in the world that now accepting students just after college. PhD was the very high pass because you don't have masters, and if you have the masters, it's usually very easy in terms of academic check. I mean, very easy. You need to be a good student again. You don't need to do the number one way class or something. You don't need to have like 100% marks, etc. It's much lower requirements. So, and some people are coming up to industry, they work in the industry for years, and then they want to come with a PhD. So, what this PhD stands for is the philosophy of doctorate. So, you learn to do a project on your own. So, it's very much like student film, especially in the UK. This is how we regard it. So, you will use it not only to become a lecturer, but also to get a job in the university. So, many companies in the UK, when they're recruiting international students, they recruit mostly PhDs because it's a higher qualified student. I mean, I see my students when they start their PhD, they're quite, how to say, or when they finish their PhD, and if I compare them when they start their PhD, they change a lot over these 4 years, and they learn how to lead a project, they learn how to start a project, they learn how to speak about what they are doing, they learn how to affect some topic, they know what are the big points, they learn what their strong points are. So it's a really, how to say, strong education in that sense. And it's an employer why you shouldn't like things to us. So, and then when you go to industry, many of my friends, colleagues who did their PhD designing, but no one will trust you to design such a catalyst if you don't have a PhD. You need to prove that you design something from scratch, something new catalyst you develop through your PhD, and then you make it a job. So, the others who didn't do PhD are also working in the same company, but they are doing different things. So it's a little bit like changing, transforming it, but not doing. And nowadays it's very much like the new generation. They want to, everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to set up their own company, some startups, etc. There are lots of funding going on. But in order to start something new, you need to invent something new. And how will you start or invent something new just with the fundamental undergraduate education? It's impossible. So you need to do so. From out of these various PhD projects, some of them refer to some startups. So, for example, I have a colleague at the University of Oxford. So he has a company which is producing hydrogen that will be used to store energy in a Mexican market. The company agreed to buy it, and in a couple of years' time, there will be units which are storing electricity in the Californian Gulf, close to thousands of kilometers away. But that also came from a PhD. So PhD is you can use your knowledge during this PhD or anything else. One of my students in PhD chemical engineering went to finance. So he was very, but he didn't do anything with finance. He was very good in synthesizing materials, and he was very good defending what he was doing. I was criticizing, he was saying, oh, sir, I did it in this way, or I did it in that way, etc. Eventually, he went to this banking because he was very good in organization and systematic working. They liked it, and they were working. And then to fund some investments, and another friend of mine is working on a patent law here after PhD. So there are lots of things that you can do after your PhD. So it is, but it's an education, another education of 3-4 years to become an absolutely different person in terms of running projects, doing something new. So you want to skill own company, for example, in the future, like startup, etc. That would be if you want to go to industry and do more like development research, I definitely recommend. So a lot of PhDs are working in these EVs, for example, these electrified vehicles nowadays. So I mean, no one will recruit a new graduate to develop a new car. So you need to have a PhD and you need to understand something very specific. So, but of course, graduates are also moving. Just graduates are also necessary, and they do different types of jobs. PhD is not only for academic, so that's what I can tell you. Okay, so I hope it's motivating answer.
So it's possible that you get a PhD that is not in line with our majors?
Possible, yes. But usually the person who's recruiting you looks for some transferable skill, that's how we call it. Like, I mean, soft skills like technical analysis, etc. These are one side, but also like a little bit of technical knowledge is what is looked after. So if you do a master's in I don't know, like material synthesis, for example, and if you have a chemical engineering major, you can still do a PhD on process engineering, for example, or process control, something like this, AI in drug discovery. These are all pharmaceuticals. You can do any of these things with a chemistry or chemical engineering background, regardless of what specifically you worked in the last years of your master's degree. So it's really hard to do, for example, something absolutely different. I mean, if you don't have any strong mathematics background, if you would like to apply economics, for example, to analyze big data, they can tell like what is your experience, what is good, and they may not accept, they may recommend you to be a master course first, and then you get such things. But if you have a little bit of experience in some transferable skill, fundamental knowledge, you can apply for the different subjects. Okay, so nowadays AI, machine learning, these are very popular, and they doesn't require a lot of equipment, just the computer to do it. Just give data, you can even train yourself to look into projects related to this one, and then you can work AI on in a business department, for example. So if you did it in a chemical engineering department, you can apply it to business. So, so that's possible, but you need to have some fundamental transferable skill, like hard skill. Python, the AI, machine learning a little bit, like chemical industries, and apply to something else. Or like synthesis, etc. Organic chemistry, you can apply to pharmaceuticals. State directly, if I'm a pharmaceutical company. Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You can stop me also.
Yeah, it's okay.
Sometimes I talk too long.
No, it's okay. I just want to share my experience also to you. When I was in UCL, my professor has 10 students in this student. From the 10, just 3 of us, including me, is continue to lecture. 7 of us is continue education. However, unfortunately, if you want to go if you want to back to for now, it's not possible. Basically, that's produced because they don't want to hire the PhD degree. They have to pay more, and then we just hire them underdegree. So if you want to go to the industry, you have to go to the people of 7 of us is a contribution. Just 3 of us, 1 from Taiwan and 1 from Malaysia. And once my friend from Taiwan, originally he was phonology. Phonology to how to develop the technique, the engineering, kind of engineering, how to design the city. But she has experience to design the city with the software. So she has experience about the software, and she has experience about the mathematical kind of thing. So he joined the PhD in chemistry. It became compositional chemistry. I just continue what I explained. If you have basic or you have background of something related to the field, you can continue to this field.
And in chemical engineering, we have methods.
Yes, yeah.
So you do CFD, probably you learn about it from relationship frameworks. I don't know if you're using Pusat, for example, it's Rust, and these are like all softwares. If you understand it, actually you're using mathematics. So if you know these things, you have fundamental mathematics background. So you need to prove that you use it for something. So that's why mathematics is really useful to be able to get a position in PhD, because you can apply it to something and then you can prove that you applied it to that thing. And see, if you have a population for your masters, that would be amazing. That would really like the door open for you. So if I, for example, see a student published in a journal, is heavily reviewed and it's like really approved by the reviewer, selected by everyone, and I can ask the student maybe to explain this paper and tell them like I did this or this. If I needed in the lab for that project or that project I'm doing with, I understand. So that's why doing a master's is like kind of step to do PhD, but also like in your graduation project, actually you are all doing it. You are doing some project, something, so you need to write your application or your email to participate. Like I'm very much interested in these topics. I use these methods in my graduation project. We have a position of that will help the person, convince the person before the person talks to you, they talk to you, and then you can talk about these skills. I don't mind for you to know everything, but you can learn the rest. It's also a good evidence that you can learn So another.
Okay, and then the last, I want to say very much. My first surprise actually it was physical, but he got his professor in chemistry. So that's enough. You can contribute your knowledge and your skills, but still, no, it's focused. Some guys are actually physical. Yeah. Okay, now we very move on to the slides. Professor sudah. Ya, jadi very important. Ya,
Let's move to the purpose of our workshop. So, I again divided it into two sections. It's not me. I didn't make the most. So what's your profession? I say I'm an academic. I don't say I'm a writer. Right? And some people say, oh, I'm a writer, I write books. So these people use every 5 minutes that they have to write, basically, rather than waiting for 2 hours, that which never occurs. So as soon as they have the 5 minutes, they write. So they don't wait for, oh, I will write it tomorrow when I have the morning, like 3 hours. I can't just write it now because I just have 10 minutes. How many times did you tell it to yourself? I think all of us say it to ourselves many, many times. I'm not saying that I'm not doing these things. I'm exactly doing these things as well. But like reminding these things to yourself is a way to overcome it. So the next time you know that why you are not writing as much as you want to write, and you feel that others are writing a lot, because it is it's like a mindset. So you think that you don't have the time. You have 10 minutes, but it's not enough. I'm waiting for the next Saturday that there will be no one. I'm waiting for the next Friday. I'm waiting for next. I'm waiting for it. Never ends. So you always look for this how to say absolute moment, right? But it never comes. So that's affecting it actually. So if you overcome and able to use any moment that you have to write, that will help you a lot. So why are we so busy and why can't we make this 5 minutes or half an hour or these 2 hours? Another trick that is writers usually use is a table, is a chart. I recommend this to you. I saw it some years ago somewhere and I picked it up. And it's really interesting. So you have two scales actually in your hands. So one scale is like when you have an email popped up, immediately you have two mechanisms. So one is like, is the email important or is the email not important? Okay, so this is the first judgment, first scale. Like, is it important or is it not important? So everything which is important is on the right hand side here, and everything not important goes to the left hand side. So important or not important, important or not important. So the other human reaction probably, as soon as something comes up, maybe you need someone tells you like, oh, there will be some teaching activity next Wednesday going on. There will be a seminar next Tuesday. There will be friends, some birthday party, next Saturday. So the other thing, or like someone think, oh, tomorrow there will be exam and one of the questions are wrong. So immediately it comes to your mind like, oh, it's urgent, so I have to prepare this question again. So then the other thing comes to your mind is it urgent or not urgent? Maybe a party is not very urgent, but an exam tomorrow is urgent. So you have the upper part for the urgent things and the down part for the non-urgent things. So then you have the scale, you can throw it on your paper anywhere, anytime, for anything that comes up in front of you. Is it urgent or not urgent? Is it important or not important? Okay, so you have this four parts of this XY diagram. We are all chemists and engineers. So this part is like urgent and important. This part is important but not urgent. This part is urgent but not very important. And this part is neither important nor urgent. So which one, if you have this thing for a task, for etc., or if you have like many tasks and you classify them, you have to do 10 things in the next week, and then you put them into this schedule. So which one would you start with? Urgent and important, okay. Any other ideas? You agree that you will probably start with urgent and important?
Agree.
Sorry? Agree. So actually you should start with important, but not urgent. Okay. Important, but not urgent. Then you don't have the stress, Urgent and important, you will do it anyway. You can't avoid it. You will do it anyway. If it's tomorrow, you will do it in the afternoon, in the last 10 minutes, in the last 5 minutes, you will do it, There is no way that you will escape from it. You will do it anyway, so don't think about it. It will come, don't stress yourself. Just look for the important but not urgent thing. Maybe you need to finish it like a paper, maybe it's very important for your career, for your future, right? So, but it's not urgent, you don't need to publish it tomorrow, right? So you can sit down and look for it. Okay, so it's like, it's important for you, but not very urgent. So that gives you a little bit of relaxation from stress. Okay, so and then urgent, but not really important, like exam paper to prepare, for example. I mean, it is important for the school, but maybe not important that important for you. You know? So you do it, but later. Okay? So that will also release a little bit of stress from you. And then this part, not important, not urgent. Okay, life is too short for this thing. Okay, just dump it, trash it. Okay, nothing left. Just remove yourself, dump it, and then you will be fine. Okay, so that's the advice. Okay, so this is like how you release a little bit of stress from it. So if you usually stress because it's urgent and it's important, you want to do it, and then you forget to do the actually real important thing, but very not urgent thing, and you delay it and delay it and delay it. So the papers go like next year, next year, next year, next year. So okay, so this is a kind of finding time to write. Okay, so this is like you can manage and scale your schedule your what you're doing. So the other important point is getting started. So how many times you want to start writing and then you didn't start it? So okay, I will start writing this paper. Yeah, I have these results. You know, I will start it, but you never started, right? So oh, I want to write this paper. I want to write this book review. You know, I want to write this review article. But you never start. So you always think about it, but you never start. So the golden rule that you need to remind yourself in this case, if you are one of those, like if you have 1 million things that you want to start and never start, is like if you don't start, you certainly won't finish. Okay, so if you want to finish it, you have to start it. So that's the case. You want to write it, you want to finish it, but if you don't start, for sure you won't finish it. You can start it and maybe not finish it, but that's also an option. But for sure, if you don't start, for sure you won't finish it. So that's like a kind of forcing yourself. So the first rule of management that said, some people call it like 80-20 rules, 90-10 rules, whatever you may probably heard about it. It's like most things get done well enough in the last 10% of the time available. Most of the things, I really think about how many things that you do in the last minute. So last 10 minutes, so the last 10% of the time available to publish a paper, to write up your result, to submit that, to submit or to prepare your lecture notes or to do something in the last moments. It's usually good enough, well enough. So, but imagine like doing most of the things in the first 10% of the time. Okay, so imagine like you are not doing it in the last 10 minutes, but in the first 10 minutes. Okay, you would do it much better, I think. Right? So if you do it in the first 10 minutes. So yes, this is like reducing your stress and managing your tasks better and trying to do things in a more calmer, quieter mind in the first part. So most things could have been done even better in the first 10% of the available time. We try to utilize that part to be more effective in writing. So these are like kind of blockages to writing. I hope you start thinking about your habits as well when we talk about these things. So organizing your writing. So some things may help also to plan and to organize your writing. So some questions help you to prevent this avoiding tactics. It's a quite common word that you need to see in all these writing trainings, avoidance tactics, avoiding writing. So one of the things to overcome this avoidance, like why am I not writing? Why am I avoiding writing? It helps you if you just write down without thinking some small notes, some how to say, quick responses. I mean, if you have papers now, I will ask you to write down by yourself, like what you think and what you do. Okay, so this is important to organize your writing for your own. So, for example, where do you do your writing mostly? What comes to mind first? Where do you do your writing? At home, in your office, in your room at home, in the kitchen. Everyone writes somewhere else, in the bus, not in the car when you're driving, but in the train, just write down, write somewhere, just write where it comes first to your mind, where do you write? In your laptop, when you're at the kitchen table, in the bed. Some people write in the bed. Write down, write. It will be very good for you to see what you are doing.
Maybe we have to find
Everyone has a different toilet. Either mobile phone. Voice. Someone was having a meeting in the toilet. He went to the toilet and then he heard that there's music and go. So yeah, you should take a note. Okay, so next question. What time of the day do you usually write? In the morning, in the afternoon, during lunchtime, in the evening after kids sleep? At the end of the day, beginning of the day. For example, I realize that I'm not a morning person. Everyone says, "Oh, you need to wake up early, fresh my food," but I can't do it. So I realize that around 2-3 o'clock, my mind settles down. I'm an afternoon people. So I still go into my office and then, it's like relaxing finally, many things are done. And then around 3 or 4 o'clock, around that time, I write mostly, for example. If I do something important. In the past, it was like in the evening after dinner. But nowadays, getting married, having children, after dinner, your wife doesn't talk to you, you can't do it. But still, I am afternoon, for example. I write like 3 or 4 o'clock, something like that. So what do you write? Take a note. Some people are very morning, they just wake up before everyone else. And they say, just sit down and do things before everyone wakes up, or during lunchtime. Everyone is different. So this is like, you will see a pattern, so that's important. So how long does it take you actually to put a pen, paper, or fingers to the keyboard before you really start writing? Imagine you sit down to write, and then how long does it take? You just sit down, I will write now, you sit down and start immediately. It takes me about 1 hour minimum. So, for example, I sit down to write and then I think, and then okay, I go and take one coffee, I eat some cake, I come back, I check the emails, and then everything is done like that. I can't do anything anymore. I start writing. So, how long does it take you? Half an hour, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours? Take a note, whatever comes to your mind first. How long does it take you? An hour, maybe. Sometimes even an important email takes 1 hour. You write it in 10 minutes, but you think the first 15 minutes. So it's a habit. So this is like you're finding your pattern. So the other question is, who knows about your writing plans? Who comes to your mind? I mean, your colleague, your friend, your supervisor, only yourself, your spouse, your wife, your husband, your children. Who knows about it? No one. That's also the habit. Some people say it. Discuss it and talk. It's very confidential sometimes. It's very personal. You don't open it to everyone. So, but some people you feel very good friend, maybe very good colleague, and you talk with them. Maybe, look, I am writing something. I wrote this one yesterday. I want to write a paper. So who knows? Who comes to your mind? Your best friend. You can write a name. You see a person. Is there anyone who knows about your writing plans? No. Okay, write down. Take a note. So the other question is. Okay, this is a little bit difficult one, but so what do you think is the minimum time that you need to write a paper, okay, or to prepare it, or to make some progress? So, for example, if you want to make your paper ready for publication, if you have a draft, how long time is sufficient? 10 hours, 3 hours, 2 hours? What's a good time? How much time do you think is necessary for you to improve your draft or to have some significant progress? Not just one paragraph, but you will say that, okay, I did something, so I wrote it. So how much time do you need to feel that, like you achieved some writing? make some progress? How much time you spend back? 1 hour, 2 hours, 8 hours, 2 days, 1 week without any stop. So writing how long do you feel that you made some progress? 4 hours. Everyone is different. Sometimes I feel very good at writing after 10 minutes. That's very rare. Usually after 2 hours, I feel that yes, I made some progress. That's my period. But everyone has a different situation, of course. Just write down as a note. These are important, so we will learn it. And so if you think that you need, for example, 2 hours to write, 2 hours to make some great progress for your paper, right? So if I sit down and work 2 hours for a paper and write one very nice paragraph, I feel comfortable, right? So how many times do you have that 2 hours in a week or in a day? Or how many times do you have this enough time for you in a week or in a month, in a day? So if you're able to write in half an hour, some good progress, how many times do you have that half an hour in a week? 3 times, 2 times, 4 times, 0 times. You don't have any. How many times can you have this kind of writing block? Okay, so these are really important questions. Okay, so to understand your thoughts, if I go forward a bit. Like where will you do your writing? What time of the day do you usually write? How long does it take you actually to start writing? And then who knows about your writing? And then just write down like what do you feel great? After how long do you feel good that you achieve something with your writing? And how many times do you have this period? This duration. Okay, so these are really important things to map. Okay, so if you want to progress in your writing, you need to understand your mindset. And if you put these things down, you understand then where do you write usually. It's like if you know it consciously, that you now go down and I write when I'm in the kitchen mostly. So try to be in the kitchen more often. If you think that you're writing in the mornings mostly, it comes to your mind. Now you're conscious. So in the mornings, well, right. Okay, so stay in the kitchen in the morning. So, and then if you think that after writing 10 minutes, I don't feel like I'm ready for this, half an hour is not enough for me. But if you think that 1 hour is enough for you to make good progress, you feel satisfied. So you need 1 hour break in the kitchen in the morning. Okay? So how many times do you have that 1 hour in the kitchen in the morning in a week? Once? Twice, never, once in 2 weeks. So you need to have this period, this duration, with all these conditions more often to be able to make progress. So this is your pattern. This is like identifying yourself. Okay? Consciously looking at your mood or your style and your feelings, and then trying to consciously make it more often and more time, make more location, duration for yourself. So talking to your friends is a very good motivation. We will come to that for a little bit later as well. But if you tell to your friends, I'm writing about this, or if you have a colleague that you're writing together, you can tell them, I will write about this part, I will write about that part. And if you talk more often with that friend, that will motivate you to write more. So that's why talking to your friend that you are writing, next time, what will you tell them? Like people ask you, like, how much did you write last week? Oh, are you still writing? Oh, how is your paper going? So what will you tell? Because that will be like the kind of motivation for you to increase this time, this period, this location. And so we will see that when you're talking to your friends, it will be helpful in other ways as well. So these are really like identifying your pattern, putting this time, putting this location, etc., more into your life. That's very important to be able to, if you make it like a habit in this way, and if you can protect these times and the locations and the places, and consciously, if you're able to do it, you will progress over time. You will see that every month you will write more, every year you will write more and more. So that's really important to become a really, effective writer, and to overcome these avoidance tactics. So talking to your friend is very important to get back also some feedbacks about your ideas, but also talking to your colleagues is very important. So finishing articles is another skill, okay? So if you don't write, you won't finish, that's for sure. Sometimes even if you write, you don't finish. And also many academics, I think, have like paper ideas, tons of them. They are never finished, and they are merely abandoned, at the least 17 points, or somewhere else they are abandoned and never finished. So this is possible. So how to get started? But everything starts with a start, So without any start, we can't continue. So this is like a kind of activity. So you can do it now if you have any plans for writing script. I hope many of you, at least some of you, have some plans. So this is how to start about writing. So if you have another difficulty about like, oh, what am I going to write? How am I going to write? How am I going to start? So put an egg into your paper. This is a very good way to start writing, and then write down there something that you want to write about in the middle of the egg. Just draw the egg, on the paper, and then write there, I don't know, the effect of nickels at supply or either on cracking of my oil. This is what I will try. And then you can also write some keywords. If it doesn't come to a direct title, you can write hybrid cracking by oil, and then catalyst synthesified. This is my paper. This is the egg round. So then write down the ideas. Okay, I want to write this. I want to write that. I want to add this, and draw lines around this egg. Just put there some ideas. Okay, like draw a line and then say that this is like XRD. Oh, I have also experience. Oh, I want to say that nickel is very good. Oh, I want to say that 3% is optimal. Oh, I want to say that ZSL time is best. So this is, you can make it a big chart. So write down like 1, 2, 3, 4, as much as it comes to your mind. Like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. So yes, you have this kind of chart. This is like a mind map, basically. If someone tells you mind map, maybe you say, oh, what is that, etc. But it might be helpful, to start, to get started. So as many ideas as possible around this kind of central idea. So then the next important thing is, of course, you have the start, you have your time, etc. But another point is like when you're writing these things on your notes or on your notebook, sometimes we don't note it down and we think about it. So I think when you're walking, when you're drinking, even when you're talking, chatting with your friend, it comes to your mind, but you don't note them down. So very important thing is to remember these moments. So when you're talking about your paper, for example, or about your research, about what you're doing at work, can you say someone, like, of course this is written in English, it will be strange for you to say, but by the way, because you say it in Indonesian, I don't know how to translate it to Indonesian, maybe you say it in a different way, a set of words, but we always say it, but that's very interesting, you do it. I mean, good to say that it's like, oh, that's very interesting, we say it like that, but in Indonesian language, maybe you don't say it like, oh, do you know what's interesting? You may say it with different pairs. Well, I do this thing in work and it's very intriguing, or I don't know which words you use in Indonesian. And you're talking to your friend, and we ever get excited, okay, and tell him like, can I tell you what I'm doing? So this is like, how do you say it? I'm doing some experiments in the lab, and I find this. Do you know that? Like, you get excited when you're saying it to your friend. I'm sure you all have this kind of moments, right? So capture these moments. So when do you get excited saying it to your friend or to your colleague? I had it this 2% nickel, and someone else doing it this way. I also do this. It's very interesting. So these kind of moments are so important in your mind because they are actually directing you to what you want to write, what you want to do. And these are like coming naturally out of your heart. And then you usually get enthusiastic and excited when you're telling it to someone that you trust, someone that you spend time together with, It could be your mother, it could be your father. Do you describe your research to your parents, for example? He doesn't know any science. So you go to home and you know, Mom, I did an experiment today. Go away. But it is exciting for you, as you say it, to your friend. Oh, you know that I learned this from today. So these are really important moments. You need to take out your phone. Nowadays we carry our phones. They work for everything. In the past people were carrying some notebooks to take notes. But nowadays we have our phones. Just write it down there. Oh, I found this very interesting and I started thinking about it. So this is very interesting. Take these notes. I mean, you will capture these moments. It's very important for you to capture these moments because you will use them later. So that's why it's very important to talk to your friends what we are writing about. So it's not about your finished articles, what you wrote already, but it's about what you are writing now. So, you know, I'm working on this article. Can I tell you like why it's so interesting? If you find enthusiastic some moments that you are telling to your friend, that's very important to work on. So these are yes, these are very important things. And shall we give a break or continue to talk maybe 5 or 10 minutes? Or we can move to something else? I don't know. Too much information, too many things. So
It's okay, this one.
continue.
It's a possibility.
Okay. So can I put 10 minutes? No, I am fine. I can continue everything else. If you find it interesting and if you want to continue like that,
because this kind of we have the input to reflect.
Yes,
our habits.
yes, yes. Yeah, this is like always. I also like this chart, like urgent, not urgent, important, not important. At work, usually, if a head of school says that he's not here now, if he sends an email, I'm thinking, okay, this is not urgent, this is not important. Put it to the rubbish bin. But if it is really stressful, you will do it anyway. You won't escape from it. So you avoid it. I like this chart, but also like reflecting on your habits. It's very important. It's an important step to consciously think about it, and you need to remind yourself of this thing. So yes, talking to your friends are also very important for one more reason as well, because usually, okay, imagine that you overcome all these avoidance tactics and everything, and you wrote a very nice article, something you've ready. To a certain extent, it doesn't need to be 100% ready, but it is like in a good place. So you need to interrogate, like you need to how to say, think like a criminal police officer, and then you have the case in front of you. Okay, so you need to interrogate your paper. So you need to ask these kind of questions. I mean, I tried to highlight some of them, but for example, one of the most important one is what is the single most important finding in this article or in this piece that I wrote? Okay, so what is the most important thing that I'm telling you now? So that's very important. This writing is therefore is not an easy task and overwhelming. So, and the other question that you should ask is what's the most surprising thing? Like, what did you get surprised? Were you expecting something and find something else? So, and what is this is a very important one as well, to make it published usually. So, what is the unique selling point of this work? So, why this work sells best? So, how can I sell this to someone, or this writing, or this paper, or this book, or this review? So, how can I sell this to someone? Okay, I wrote this one, and it is unique because it is doing this for the first time. You need to answer it by yourself, to yourself honestly about what you wrote. Okay, so these are making your writing go forward and make it polished and refined, etc. So, and then why should this piece that I wrote get published rather than everything else? So the editor will receive 100 submissions. So why this one that I wrote should be published? So you need to answer these things by yourself. It's not an easy task because it's your work and you feel mentally connected to it, emotionally connected to it, and you know that there is hard work, maybe 2 or 3 years behind it. So and then sitting down and saying that, oh, why this should be published? It's not easy because but you need to personally answer it, and then you will be emotionally, calm and quiet and peaceful. It's what you do. Okay, so that's very important to process, and usually we are overwhelmed with the papers of others and with all the papers all around, all the books all around. This is too many, So, but you shouldn't care about how many there are out there. It's not important. What is important is what you are putting there. So that piece in front of you is the most important thing for you. You shouldn't care about the rest, So why this should be published? Why what I did is great? Why I am proud of this? You need to answer it to yourself. So I am proud because it's a very systematic study. I am proud because no one else did this before. This is very good because I found it. This is very good. Even if I didn't find anything new, it is extremely nicely done. It's extremely true. So this kind of self-reflection with what you write is quite difficult, but that makes your first draft or your first trial better and better and better. So once you start thinking these kind of questions, you will start updating it, So you will start like, what is the unique selling point? Or this is the unique selling point. Or where am I saying it? No, in abstract I should say it. So that comes improvement. So you can also think like to overcome, So like even if you think that your work is like 100% perfect, you should always think like what else could be done, what else could be even more important, what else could be even better. So this will make your writing refined and better and better. So of course, if you do all these things, it's fine. But most of the time, we have this block. We are doing all these avoidance tactics. We are delaying everything to the future. This is also called. It's a very it's a very well-known terminology in the writers' field. Like every writer knows this writer's block. They told some writers cannot write for 2-3 years. They travel to all around the world, here, there, they do everything they can't write. So this is like a writer's block, it's called. And the only way to overcome this thing is write something else. Okay, so there is no other way to overcome this writer's block. If you write some things and if you cannot continue it, so you look at it and then you don't want to continue. You look at it, you don't want to write more. You look at it, you don't want to write. Put it somewhere else and write something else. That will make you write more. So in terms of writing, writers use all these tactics all the time. They start writing many different things. They know that they won't continue it. Their main work is somewhere else waiting for them. As soon as they feel again like confident, comfortable, joyful about writing, they go back to the work that they stopped, that they continue writing that more. So this, if you feel that you are blocked, and if whatever you do, you can't continue, just forget about it for some time and then write something else. You should write something else, okay? You shouldn't forget about writing. You should just forget about that piece. So that's the best way to continue writing. I think from further onwards, we will talk specifically about, I mentioned that you write your article or the draft, etc. And then how do you prepare it for submission to a journal, and how do you make it publishable? Okay, so I think it's a good point to give a break. I hope until now we covered some things which will help you and motivate you to start writing, to write, to improve your writing, and I hope you get some tricks and bits and pieces to help you in this journey. Okay, so let's give a break for maybe 10 minutes. You can eat, drink something, and then afterwards we talk about really like journals and something. Thank you. 10 minutes break. Okay.
Sudah dari
I mean, you are not alone. You're not the same difficulties. This is the problem. I mean, if you find stuff like something else, and then you will break, so that's sometimes.
Oh, kamu tergeletak.
It's also nice to talk to your friends and to believe something about the discuss. Because when you're saying something, you divide this stuff to
It's okay, sir.
Misalnya, kayaknya setambah ini mah ada yang kue ada yang mau nambah ada dia
Orang muda-muda semua.
Hello again. Let's continue a little bit further. So yes, we talked about like this blockage and how you can write, how you can make your writing more efficient and how you can be more productive. It's not an easy task, of course. You need to train yourself, and over time and time it will get better and better. So another difficulty is like even if you finish your writing or if you think about finishing your article, sometimes the blockage is like to think about where am I going to publish it or where am I going to submit it. So this checking out a journal to publish your article is another critical point in your journey, basically. So you can now think about where you want to publish your article. If you have something written, you probably already have some ideas in your mind. But how to choose, like how to think that what you want to write to is suitable to what you are writing. So you need to check the article, the journal basically. You need to go to their web page and then look at the properties of it. So first thing that you look at is it old? Is it new? What volume is it? So usually we see this volume number is like 200 or 600. The first issue of the journal will have the volume number of 1. So if you see there like, I don't know, 1000 something, it means the journal is very old. So it's publishing a lot. So what volume number is it? And then go to the editorial board and then look at the people in the editorial board. Do you recognize any people there? Which field are they coming from? If you may see that the title might be chemistry or chemical engineering oriented. For example, this energy reviews or bioprocess energy something. I thought that it's a chemical engineering chemistry journal, but if you go to the editorial board, you see that everyone is an electrical engineer or mechanical engineer. Okay, so they are right. And then the next stage, of course, I will go through like articles, etc. They usually publish articles in the field of like energy, but from like electric power engineering point of view, or like some more combustion mechanical engineering. So I thought that the case is not suitable, So although the title was very attractive to me, like bioprocess engineering reviews or something like that. So when I looked at the editorial, okay, these are all electrical engineers, mechanical engineers. There is no chemist or chemical engineer here. If I submit this, they won't understand anything and want to publish that. So editorial boards are very good. Gives you an idea of who is there. And then the next stage is, of course, when you're writing your article, you read some references, and then in your topic also you read about your topic from different journals. Do you see someone who published in that journal, like some experts probably in your field? Did he ever publish in this journal? Who published there? Maybe one of your colleagues published there from, I don't know, who they are, from ITD, did he publish in this journal? So that will give you an idea of like who's publishing there, it will give you an idea. And where do they come from? It's like international journals. Sometimes you have these journals like Chinese Journal of Chemistry, Korean Foods and Chemical Engineering. And then you look at like who they are, who is publishing there, or Canadian Journal of Chemical Engineering. These are like some of the journals that came to my mind. Authors who are publishing there, you will see that they are specific to these countries mostly. And it's not really super international journal, so then your chances to get accepted there is lower. So if you see a journal which is publishing only articles from a specific country, you will have a less chance. So it's international. And then, of course, notes for authors or guides for authors is very important to look. So another easy way is like you can go to this website, also here, these pages, and find the journal that they are thinking to publish, and then go to the web page of the journal. And usually they put the latest issue at the top. As soon as you open the journal, you see the latest papers, like, oh, just accept it, like, not in the page numbers, but it's there. So better is to just look at these articles, just take their titles, couple of figures there, maybe some abstracts, just skim through like maybe last 3 issues, and you will understand what kind of articles they are publishing. Then you can judge what you write, whether it fits there among all these articles or not. So this is like a very good balance and judgment. So don't submit before doing this, okay? Don't submit before evaluating where you're submitting to. So look at least 3 issues of where you're submitting to. Just quickly, it will takes you 10 minutes just to look at what articles they publish. Okay, so this is important, and what sort of papers are accepted. Sometimes you go there and then you try to submit your experimental work into a journal which is not publishing reviews, for example. That won't fit. So what sort of articles are you using published? What kind of graphics they use? That will give you an idea. Quickly look at their graphics. If you see a lot of XRDs, FTIRs, etc., you might think that it's suitable for my work, maybe in the catalysis or I don't know, or if you see a lot of reactors and so on. If not, it's not suitable. So this is important. So when you're writing for the journals and then submitting your work to a journal, there is an editor on the other side who is sitting and waiting for you to submit, basically, waiting for all of us to submit. And the editor has a different agenda than us. So we want to publish our papers, of course, we want to make it make an impact, we want everyone to read our article and cite it, we want to get high citations. This is what we want. But what does the editor want? So eventually the editor makes a decision whether to accept or reject it. So they have a different agenda. If you understand what editor wants, you will be one step ahead. You will make your article published faster, smoother, better. So what do they want? So usually editors do like a 5-minute test, so they don't spend more time per application. So probably they receive hundreds of journals articles submitted every day. So they do this 5-minute test. They work about this 5 minutes reading test. So is the purpose clear? This is what they do. So well, why did they do this? Is it clearly written there? So does the purpose match our scope? So this is the second thing that they think about. So okay, this work examines this materials, this reaction for these conditions, etc. Okay, is it our topic? Should we publish it by MS? No, okay. So this is kind of the screening. So it's like an editor screening. And then the other point is are the key points quick spots. So it is relevant to the journal. Editor thinks that okay, what are the key points? What's this article saying about? And then do these key points that they find out link to the purpose of this work. And the other question is, does the author know why it's important? Sometimes reviewers and editors may find one result in your article very interesting and very important, but they realize that it has never been done. But does the author really understand what he submits here? Does he aware that this is very important? If the editor thinks that you're submitting some result, which is very important, but you didn't write it high or write it explicitly, etc., he thinks that okay, he doesn't know what he's doing. Reject. So there are tons of reasons to reject. So you need to be really, I'd say, confident and comfortable and know what you're submitting. So this is like a 5-minute test for the editor. And the next thing is it readable? So they just look through it. Is it going smooth? So I don't want to try to force myself to understand. It's going smooth, very quick. Can I read it in 5 minutes and understand everything? So that's it. And then they look at the style, of course. They submit it, every journal has a different style, different formatting. If the author stick to the formatting, they look at it. And then the last, maybe most important for them is will it create a lot of work for them? Okay? Everyone thinks about this. So if your article is very well written, very nice, everything is clear, which is to do, standard and scope and everything nice. Okay, this won't create much work for the editor to publish. And then you send it to some of his friends and it's gone. If it's a lot of work, this would create a lot of work, a lot of hassle. It will be revised 10 times, I need to read every revision. I need to make 10 times decisions about this. It will be too much work to check. So you need to make the editor's life easy. Then they will accept it. Okay, so this is the editor's agenda. So if you are an editor, you would be behaving safe properly. So this is out of a survey. So some people made a survey among the editors. So they send these questions to the editors of the top journals, and they ask them some questions. So the first, the most important question that they ask is, what are the points that make a submission, a manuscript, immediately appealing to you? So as soon as you see it, you find like, amazing. So what makes it appealing to you? So and then they rank this to 10, 1 to 10. So the first thing that the editor said is professional appearance. So they don't read it, they actually just look at it. Okay, so if you're more professional your article looks, you have higher chances it can go through these next pages. Okay, so this is the first thing that every editor said. A professional appearance. So how it looks basically, if it looks nice, yeah, okay, except, okay, except really good. If it looks like a little bit, nothing nice or like, not great, so okay, it will be a little work, So how it looks is important. So you need to spend time think if you have more audience, very good. So the second thing is like order. It's order. It's like they look at something new, something novel of subject. So they say, okay, is there something new in this one, or is it just one more? Is it just one additional, or is there something new? So if they find something new, even if it's like not very good in other points, if you find out something like a super high rate. So sometimes I see articles published in very like top journals, sometimes for no reason. Sometimes they are very poor quality, but they find out something, like double the rate of everyone else. So you have the, I'd say, you have the right to write bad if you find something extraordinary. But it happens very randomly. Once in 20 years, maybe once in 10 years, they discover a rate of a reaction 10 times higher than the rest of the world. You have the right to write it as bad as you like. They will accept it. But that doesn't happen all the time. Most of the time you find maybe a tiny something different, very little changes, very few things here and there. Then if you need to write it very, good looking, so you don't have to write. But the editors look at it. So if they find out something which is extraordinary, which is like out of the box, which is very different, they give a chance. Okay, so this is like this kind of advice from editors. And you find something which is extraordinary, which is not really obeying the trends, which is like not usual. You have a chance, and they give a chance even if it's not really convincing at first sight. They most of the time give a chance for the reviewers, etc. So, but the first is always professional look. So you can't beat it. You can't beat it. So the third thing that they say is very, very thorough. So thoroughly studied. So it's like very detailed basically. So they don't want to have like 2 or 3 results and that. So so if you find something they want you to, I would say, investigate 10 minutes maybe, as many angles as you like, as many thoughts around it as possible. So many angles, so many things. So if for example, this is like in your hands to make it look professional. The more time you spend it, the more you go through it, it will look more professional. Of course, the more you think about it, you can put some more ideas in it, and it will become looking more and more novel. And after that, it's again like time and effort that you can make it more thorough. So these are all doable. So this is what the editors do in this order. And then of course they are very conscious about the author guidelines. They look at kind of the guidelines that follow or not. And if you go through these 4 tests, you will be probably already in the reviewers, your journals, your manuscripts there. But the other things that they look at is like, is it good in writing and style? So is it a nice writing? Is it nice style? Is it reading good? So these are the 5 things that the editors look. The first 5 things, and the other 5 things are like 6 ones like relevance to subjects, relevant. Is the title very appealing? Because many people read only the titles before reading the article. So they look at the title, they look at the abstract. Is it a really high quality abstract? And then like is there really nice work of research? And some editors also look whether it's a controversial subject or not. If it's controversial, they like it and they accept it for the revision usually. So that's like one of the things which came out of this survey. So these are the good things that the editors look for to make your article more appealing, more attractive. But also there are 10 things which editors use to reject your article. Okay, so this was the other survey, 10 most common reasons for immediately reject your article as soon as they see it. Okay, so the first one that they immediately reject, every editor said, is the author guidelines not followed. Okay, so this is not the first one that they accept your article, but this is the first reason to reject it. Okay, so it's a little bit different answers that are coming here. But also, the second one is more interesting. So if they don't say that the first reason that they find it very appealing is very true, but if it is not really true, if it is just a couple of results here and there, they find it a reason to reject it. They say, okay, you didn't study this in detail, you just did a couple of things and it's not enough. They find it a very, I'll say, strong reason to reject it. This is the second reason to reject it immediately. Okay, these are just a couple of results. Yeah, I don't like it. Go ahead to do more. This is the editor's tone, I think. So the third one is bad writing, clarity and style. So this is another reason why editors reject it. So if they don't understand it, here's something written, here's something else written, it's not following, it's not going forward. Hey, you're in the courtesy of the editor, Maybe he's in his good day, and then he reads it with a clear mind and understands it. You don't know that one. But this is the reason why they reject it. So the fourth thing is like subject of more interest to readers. So if it's not a really interesting subject, and it is already studied 50 years ago, they say, okay, this is not very interesting. It could be amazingly nice work, but if it is not really interesting, they say, okay, it's very good work, but sorry, it's not a topic that we're accepting now. Come with some interesting topic. This is what editors think, and they use this as a kind of rejection reason, so they can easily write there as an editor, like, sorry, but your work is not very interesting for the readers of this journal. Unfortunately, we are rejecting it. Then the fifth reason that they reject is poor tables, poor figures. If they see your figures are not very well made, they reject. So the other 10 reasons, the other 5 reasons out of this 10, old subject or old manuscript, unprofessional appearance, the title of manuscript, and this is usually one of the reasons, or like too simple, they find it written at the wrong levels. Sometimes too complicated, sometimes too simple, so they can use this as a reason to reject. Okay, so these are the reasons to reject, but if you go back, so it's easy to avoid these first 5, I think. So you can follow the guidelines very well, you can think about it thoroughly and try to make it more and more in detail. You can use some spelling check, clarity check, and nowadays we have AI writers that can rewrite your article very easily. So you can avoid these things and choose a subject which is suitable for your manuscript. Like if you go to a journal which publishes subjects of your study, it might be subjects of your topic might be interesting for that journal, and then spend time on your figures and the statistics to avoid the immediate rejection. So these are like things that you can clearly avoid, but to make it appealing to an editor, you need to make it look professional. It looks professional, this is what they accept, and then just move. So these are the things from the editor's point of view. So what the referees and reviewers usually look. I'm sure you all reviewed some documents, some articles, some manuscripts. So usually reviewers and the referees read the manuscript in more detail. They don't spend like just 5 minutes like the editor. So that's why they usually look at like clarity, coherence, well written. If it reads very well, they are usually more positive. So if it is true, so if you put a lot of results and a lot of analysis, they usually find it more convincing, So that's a way to convince the reviewers and the referees. So if you use a lot of methods, and if your research methods are quite good, they like it, and if it is proper for the journal, they usually are positive. If it is unique, and if there is something new, reviewers are usually positive. They can give a revision, but they are usually positive. So also like better you can make your results or general, like generalization, you can make some generalizations out of your results for reviewers and timeliness as well. So what advice usually editors give or what they write, so they return it with like write clearly, logically, and sequentially. So this is what usually editors give as an advice, like clearly, logically, and sequentially, like a timeline basically your article. So study the author guidelines. This is what they recommend. Have a manuscript critique before submission. So that's why it's very important to talk to your friends, talk to your colleagues, and think about what readers want to know, not what you want to say. This is very important. Editors usually give this advice to authors. It's like what you want to say might be very interesting to you, but what will the audience will think about it? What they will think about this topic, this word, this thing. So spend time for the details. So try to be really meticulous about your manuscripts. Try to correct and change and improve continuously every detail in your article. So yes, this is like a little bit of exercise which we can do later. I will go through the other slides now, and you can do that on step track. We have to, for example, do it. So yes. So up to now we looked at how to write and how to write more and better. We looked at like author's way, editor's way. I hope it will motivate you to write more and then to work on your craft several times after seeing these things. I hope it will give you some motivation. So now this part, I will go through the journal articles, like what sections they have, what parts they have, and what you should be careful about in each part of it. So, of course, our aim is to understand why, what, and where to publish it. Okay, so why do we publish? Why do we write this? What do we write? And where do we want to publish it? And writing a manuscript and dealing with the journal are 2 steps. So your work is very hard, unfortunately. Our work is very hard. It's not ending with writing the manuscript, so we deal with the journal as well. But writing the manuscript is the difficult part. So how to write work plus papers. So why, what, and where. So why publish? So why do we publish? So why do you want to publish your work? So this is an important question that you need to ask yourself. So scientists publish to share the knowledge to the research community and to advance knowledge and understanding. So it's really important for you to take a moment, take a deep breath maybe, and then think about why do I want to publish? Okay, there are personal reasons you want to get promotion, maybe you know, it's maybe a societal pressure, like, oh, I'm a professor, I need to publish. But like if you avoid these personal things and then think about only the writing and the publishing, so what is my aim for this? This is just to share what you know. So if you think about it that way, oh, I learned this, I know this, I want to tell it to everyone else. So it's almost like gossiping. So in the lab I learned this. Yes, I know this very well. I want to tell it to everyone. You can think about that way. So why we publish? Because we have new methods, new results, new something. Okay, so it is new. It should be new. Otherwise, why do you need to publish? Right? So it is like, oh, I found something new, something different. So this is a reason, I think, a personal reason to publish. And of course, we expand the knowledge, like we add the published results. And sometimes you review the field. So this is also a review article, a different type. Sometimes you want to, you see that there are tons of articles in one field, and you want to review them, you want to understand them, and you want everyone else to understand it as well. So that's why you review the field. So this is a culture, unfortunately, in academia at the moment, like publish or cherish. So you need to publish, and then you need to write some grants, you get funding, recruit some Ph.D. students or researchers, and then publish again. So it's like a cycle, you know, like continuously being published or perish culture in academia, unfortunately. But we need to focus on quality to be able to publish and be able to advance. So our work should focus on being original, with significant advances. That's what we want to do. We want to apply appropriate methods. We want to come up with some clear conclusions, which wasn't read before, and we should meet some ethical standards. And our work should be readable. It's not for show how intricate you can write. It is written to communicate with the rest of the world, so it should be readable. So that's very important. So focus on quality is very important. We usually archive these new results. So the society has this duty to every new result is just archived right nowadays in the internet. But what about the results that show really rapid progress? I mean, is there really anything important in that, or very little progress? Why should we publish that? So we should focus on the quality, and there are like lots of philosophical thoughts about it, lots of discussions about it. But for example, some people believe that just because it has not been done before is not a justification for doing it now. So sometimes you do something for the first time, but was it really essential to publish just because no one else did it before you? Does it really give a lot of result? This is like a really philosophical question. But as a scientific community, we have a tendency to publish if no one else did it before us, right? Regardless of what the result is. So if you did it for the first time, if no one else did it before you, that's your justification to publish. usually this is how we think. There is, like, you can think about it. Is it really necessary to publish something just because you did it for the first time and no one did it before? What do I learn from it? What do I learn from it? It's really interesting, important. What conclusions can I draw from it? So this is like makes you to focus on the quality of your publication. Basically, you can maybe think of something else, something new, something different, something which can be learned from this thing that you did for the first time. So that's important. Preparation. When you are preparing your article, you need to ask this question, like, okay, I'm going to write this article now. I have the results. I did this experiments in the laboratory, but did I do something new and interesting? So this is really a critical question. So before you even prepare your manuscript, okay. So have you provided solution to any difficulties? So you might have said that, okay, I did SEM, I did XRD, I did TM, I even did XPS, I did all these methods and etc. But in the end, do you provide any solution to any difficulty? Is there a problem that you are solving? These are the more critical things to answer when you're preparing for your publication. And then have you checked the fields? What's going on in this field, in the world? Did you look at the latest results in the top journals, probably, or any journal? And have you verified your findings? Sometimes you find a lot of things in the lab, like we mix something, it gives a very nice result, or we calculate something, it's very good. But do you think that it's correct? Have you verified it? Did you check it? Most times, are you sure that what you get is correct? So these are all, these controls are all improving the quality of your writing. And did you perform like controlled experiments, for example? Do your results fit to the story, or is it incomplete? Do you need to do some more things, or is it types of articles that they publish? And then the other way to check where to publish is look at your references. I'm sure you are reading when you're doing your research a lot of references. Look at where they are published, like journal, something journals. So if you read a lot of articles from a certain journal, it means that your work is probably most suitable to that journal. So there's reviewers. Another Another hint from here is like editors usually take your article, manuscript submission, and look at your references. And they look at like last 5 years or last 3 years sometimes or 2 years. If you cited someone, your article, your manuscript will most probably be gone to one of these authors for revision. So whoever you write in your reference list might be one of the reviewers later of your manuscript. So be careful, that's another issue. But if you avoid some of these people, and then the editors sometimes just copy paste the title to internet and then go last year, last 2 years, and then whichever articles they come, they look at the corresponding author and send your article to them. So if you didn't cite them, they will be angry and they will revise your article back. But if you cite them, most probably your article will go to them, and they may not like your work and your work might be rejected. It's like I don't know, minefield, there is no, but you can't avoid it, you have to go through this minefield. So, but it's quite a common procedure nowadays, like if you cite someone which published over the last 3 years in your reference list, one of these authors could be your reviewer. Not the person that you ask editor to do the review, but that is usually the case. And like when to publish, okay, there are lots of, I work in catalysis, so that's why I know these journals, I put them here. Maybe they're, how to say, recognizable for many of you, like Angelante or Jax, or the catalysis reviews of chemical communications, or the other journals. These are all like catalysis journals. Of course, you can submit your article to any one of these, but there is a price to pay. Of course, we all want to publish in the highest impact factor journal possible, right? So that's what we usually go. But there is a price. The price is like the higher the impact factor, the rejection rate is the higher. So I think this one is taken from 2008 or 2008. I'm not sure this rejection rate. So the higher the impact factor, the more they reject. Okay. So if you go to a very high impact factor journal, 85% is rejected. Probably this is now 95, This is probably data from 10 years ago. So if you go to checks, 85% of the time it will be rejected, even after editor accepts it and sends it to the reviewers. Now Chemcom, for example, rejection rate is 75%, Journal of Catalysis 65%. So these are very high rejection rates. So it's really like difficult when you go to a high impact factor journal. So does it really worth it? There is always a price to pay. Sometimes it doesn't work. It's better to just publish it and save the world what we have done. So these are like, was it really necessary to go all this hassle, all this yeah, it is your decision, of course. You will think about it, but sometimes not. So how we can more practical consideration. So the articles usually consist of, as you all know, like a title, the authors, an abstract, and keywords. These are the first bits of your article, and this should be accurate because it's very informative and effective for indexing and searching. So that's why sometimes we don't pay much attention to these, but this is really critical for others to find your article, for editors to find the reviewer for your article, for everything basically. So this part, you need to be careful, like which keywords you're writing, which words you're writing in your title, what you're writing in your abstract. Most of the indexing works with this first part. Like Google, for example, shows your article at the highest when these things are more relevant to the field that you are working on. So if you put there an article title, if you are working on zeolite, if your title doesn't have any word which is zeolite, most likely if someone searches for serialized in that, your article will come with the page 10 or page 5, so it won't be visible. So that's why this indexing, this part is important for indexing. Then we have the main text, of course, which is the most important part, and it follows this route nowadays, like introduction, methods, results, discussion, and conclusion. And later you have this other section afterwards, which is acknowledgements, references, and supplementary material. So in each of these sections is a distinct function. So order of writing, how do you start, where do you start to write your article? Which part do you write first? Any ideas where do you start?
The methods. Methods.
Methods, you write from methods, very good. I don't know, it's maybe a personal choice. Yeah, it is the recommended order is to start with experimental. Start with methods because usually most straightforward. This is what you do, so you go ahead and continue very quickly. So once you write your methods, it's clear that you use all these methods in this order, and then your results are all relevant to it. So start looking at your graphics and then start your results. So this is the order: experimental and then results. Then once you finish your results writing, go to the discussion, because you write, you describe what you did, all your graphics. In this figure it shows this, that figure it shows that, in this figure it should show this. When you're writing it, your brain is working like, okay, what does it say, okay, what does it say, and then go to the discussion. So this should be the order. And then in the end you can go to conclusions and an introduction. So this is the last stage, and later of course you put a title at the abstract. So this is like a easier way to start and write. So what about writer's block? If I start experimental and then if I cannot continue, I stop. Or if I start result, I don't like it anymore, so what should I do? Start, write first, then you will get it right later. So this is another trick. So don't think about to make it perfect at first. Just write something there, put it down. So write it down. It should be on the paper. You will make it better later. You will go through it several times. So then it will get better. So don't think about it. Write first. Write it first, then get it right. So this is like a kind of way to overcome it. Just write something. Move on. Just write something. Don't think about whether it is correct or right or best. You can get it right later. So if you start from the title, it's quite important because it will attract the attention of the editor, of everyone who looks at your article. So it should contain keywords that best describe the contents. So it should convey main findings, be specific, be concise, be complete. It should attract readers. It's not easy, of course, but don't use unnecessary jargon. Don't use uncommon abbreviations. Not everyone understands them. Don't use some ambiguous terms. Don't mention details in the title, like 3%, blah blah, for example. Just write what to put there. And then don't focus on one part only. So sometimes you like something from your manuscript and you want to put only that on the article, the title, but your whole manuscript might be more interesting because of many reasons to read to the readers. It is easy to say, of course, do this, don't do this, but when it's something specific in front of you, it takes a lot of thinking, truly, like how can you make it specific, concise, complete, and how it can be attractive, and how it can tell, like, your main finding in one sentence. It is not easy to find a nice title, and then these are not good things. So, for example, this is an example: investigation of the effect of alkali promoters on the selective oxidation of methane on novel group 8 metal catalysts. So this is not a very good title. It's quite difficult. Has a lot of jargon. Has a lot of abbreviations or like comments. It's not very understandable. You can make it a little bit more organized. Like, for example, potassium promoted selective oxidation of methane to synthesis gas platinum and autumn catalyst. So this is much better, much more descriptive. It tells what the author did, and it is more attractive to the readers if you are working on methane to syngas, for example. If you are working on oxidation, immediately you want to read this article. If you are working on platinum or rhodium, you want to read this. And they are saying what they did. They promoted it with potassium. Okay, I am also promoting potassium. I want to read this. So with the first one, you don't really understand what exactly they did. This is correct, right? So they added alkali promoters, selective oxidation of methane. Okay, to what? You know, what are they producing? Noble group metal catalyst, which catalyst? So it's like a little bit ambiguous, you know, not very clear. It's not covering everything. You can make it a little bit more specific. So writing an title is like a lot of thinking, and that's why you should do it at the end. And it's a little trials. The abstract is also same difficulty. It's a little bit longer, but it's the same difficulty. And it significantly influences the editor's decision, because the editors usually read the abstract. And also the reader's decision. I don't know what you read in the articles when you search them. You usually look at the titles, I think, right? And if you find the title a little bit interesting, maybe you go through the abstract and you look at it quickly, and then you go to the results and then go through it, and you decide whether you like it or not. So this is like how you read it, and that's why you want your article to read. That's why you should pay attention to these things, I guess. So you can again think like yourself, what do I read when I go to science, etc. So that's why abstract is important. A good abstract is precise and very honest, so you don't need to exaggerate what you did or what you find out. It should be really like clear, and it can stand alone. It's important. So if you don't have anything else, the person who is reading it should understand what you did, why you did, what you find out, and what did you make out of it, like what's the conclusion of it. It shouldn't use any technical jargon, so it should be clear, like anyone should understand it, even if I'm not explicitly in your field, I should understand it. If you put there like some abbreviations, KPN, CPT, blah, what are these things, CP, it should be brief, specific, and there shouldn't be any references, it should stand alone. It's like a piece of a short summary of what we have done. So it's a way to sell, you know, it's like a banner for your work. So you can think about it that way. Keywords, they're important. I mean, people don't pay much attention for the keywords, but they're important for indexing. So journals put your article into search engines, etc., according to the keywords that you wrote there. They try to put there like easily identified keywords, and they should be specific and so on. So introduction, what would you write to an introduction? It should provide some background information and puts the work into a context. So it's like introducing the work to the reader. So it should have some background information, not excessive, but it should put your work, why your work, where your work fits in this field. You know, you should say that this is the field, and I perform this work, so that's why it's important. So that's why you should highlight problems, some aims, some hypotheses, and some significance. Why did you do this work? You show the field and say, that's why you did this work. This was the problem, that's why you did this work. So also in the introduction, you write what was done before, have some literature, and what you did, what you achieved are important in the introduction. But these are some things which you should avoid in the introduction. It's difficult to avoid, and it's difficult to understand, of course, what is extensive, what is what is short, what is long. So that's why it's important to talk to your colleagues before you submit your master. It's important to talk to your friends, to your colleagues, let them read it, get their opinion. You may think that it's a very nice one, but maybe they will find it very extensive. You may not like it when they first say it, but after some time, you can shorten it, you can understand that, okay, maybe he was right in that point, he can say that. So it's very important to talk to your colleagues to understand what might be wrong in your introduction, for example, it's quite easy, I think, for anyone to read someone else's introduction in 5 minutes and say, oh, I find it really long. Okay, so this is not so bad. Oh, I find it quite okay. Oh, I find it very simple. You need to add some more technical details. So you can get this kind of information from others. So, or also like sometimes people tend to cite too much work. Like you see articles which are very short with like 150 citations. So this is like really trying to say that, okay, I read 120, I read 200 articles, I know it, So it's not necessary sometimes. You just need to justify why you're citing. There is no need to cite 10 review papers. If you just cite one of them, it's telling the story, it's enough, So excessive citation is not always great. So, and excessive citation to your own work also is not always great. So that is also something that we tend to do, but you should cite your work. I mean, if you have done a work on this field before, you should definitely cite it. Like maybe not everything was super relevant to your requirements for this field, but it shows the editor that you are not new to this field. You have been working in this field for some time. So that's why some people avoid citing their own work completely. That's wrong. You should cite your work, but you should cite the relevant ones. Not everything, not every relevant one, just to get citation. Let me just pay attention to that one. And yes, this is like another point. Like you find something, and then in literature someone else found something else. You are not sure whether to include it or not. So this is really actually a treasure, if I say. So if you find something which is contradicting the literature, that you should definitely write in your article. I mean, you shouldn't avoid it. You should say that, look, this guy found this thing, but we don't agree he found this. So that's really important. The authors, editors usually pay attention to this one. And, so don't ignore contradictory results, no matter who published it before. So it's okay. The guy may say that, no, you are wrong, I was correct. And people say, no, I am correct, you are wrong. That's fine. So this is how science evolves. So, but we want to be good with the literature, we want to be good with the editor. We are afraid that it may go to the sky. So we avoid these contradictory results, contradictory findings. But it's actually important to put them in, because editors, they see that you avoid it, they think that you put something wrong and you're like hiding it. So it's also not a good impression. It is better to write it down. Look, what we find is not as we expected and as the literature says, but this is what we find, and we are talking about this is what we found. So a little bit confidence, and don't ignore this contradictory result. Just write it there. Try to justify your findings. Okay, so these are things. Another point, like in some journals that you find in the introductions, I'm sure you also have seen these examples by yourself, is the too specific and too short. So this is like they don't know where this work fits into this big context. So it's important to write there something that don't just show you the result. This is what we did, and finish. It's important. Like it's again like very difficult to judge what is long, what is short. But when you be too specific, okay, this is little blah blah, this is a couple of blah blah, okay, why, so you need to have some sort of context. So these are like not to, don't do, so don't be too specific, don't ignore contradictory results, don't cite too much, don't cite too much of your work, don't write too extensive, just put it in your context. Okay, and another thing, some journals are not accepting articles anymore, which has novel in the title. So Royal Society of Chemistry decided that we are not the judges to decide whether it is novel or not, so they are not accepting. So most of the journals of Royal Society of Chemistry, RSC, is not accepting articles nowadays like novel in that title. Okay, so using too much novel or for the first time, it is good, but using too much is not good. Okay, so you may say once or twice, but don't overdo it, right? So if you, especially in the titles nowadays, I recommend not to use it like novel catalysts, novel methods, no, in the title especially, nowadays it's better to avoid. So yes, experimental section, so it should provide sufficient information that anyone else can reproduce the experiment. If you think in that way, you will write it good. Or if you ask your students writing it, when you read it, you should think that can I go to the lab and be able to do this experiment again? What don't I know here? All the considerations you see. So this kind of points can be used. So another trick in the experimental is if you did these things before, you use past tense. Okay, so you use the present tense when you're saying or presenting explanations. So past tense is to describe results that were done in the past, and the present tense is to give explanations. Yeah, for example, in the past tense, things that happened in the past. So description of your experimental results, for example. We measured the xylene yields after 5 hours. The paraselectivity was 90%. So you measured it, you did it in the past, and you found the selectivity was 90%. You're not doing it now, you did it in the past. Okay, so in the present tense, you continue if the things are still valid. The properties are shown in figure 1, right? So it doesn't, they weren't shown before, they are still shown there. This means this is correct. So it's usually a mixture, and yeah, this is a kind of guideline for you. Basically, if things happened in the past, use past tense. You measured in the past, you found it out in the past. But if you're talking about the figure, it's now. So this is like past tense, present tense. Usually this mixture is there. So when you're writing the results and showing your results, the most important thing is to summarize your results in figures and tables, and to show your results in a statistical way, in a quantifiable way, and you compare like to like don't compare apples with oranges. So, and do not duplicate tables, figures, or the text. So it should be only appear once. Okay, so it shouldn't appear 10 times. And when you're showing your results, think in your mind that the only part of your article which will have an eternal value is the results section. Okay, so whatever you did as a verb, it will stay eternity forever. And that section is the results section. So whatever you are putting the results will stay there. People will look at those results over and over again, even if you die. That will stay there as part of your work. That's the results section. What you want to leave behind. So this is the way to write the results, I think. Then you like to improve it. So we use graphics, and when you are reading articles, right, when your professors are reading the articles, they look at the graphics, and we all do the same. You just open and then look at the figures and then throw it. So when you write the article, the rest of the world will do the same. They take your article, they just turn and then look at your graphic, and then they either read it later or not. They first look at the graphic. Oh, there is this dot here. Oh, there is this graphic. Oh, they did this. Okay, throw it. So, oh, it is interesting. That way you read it. So graphics is the first thing and the most thing that the people will look at. So that's why it is important to put good graphics. So 90% of the time, people just look at the graphs and don't read the graphs. They just look at the graphs and finish. So that's why the graphics should be clear and informative. So sometimes we judge like, oh, how to present my results. So figures and tables are the most effective way, but you should summarize it in the text also. All right, so don't put there a graphic or a table and expect the reader to understand it. So it's not like how to say for the reader to go there. So that's why usually this graphics and the tables are put at the end of the article, and then you don't miss them. You just describe them. Don't miss any graphic or a table. Okay, so and the captions of your graphics. So think about it like people don't look at your text when they are reading your article. They look at your graphic and they want to understand it, right? So that's why you need to write the caption as much as you can. Make it best maximum perfectly understandable. So the caption should be very descriptive, because whoever is reading it will just look at the graphic, and they won't understand something there. They won't go to the text and try to find where you're talking about it, what you're talking. They just will read the caption. So it should be very descriptive. So the data that you present should be very easy to interpret, and the colors you're okay to use nowadays, the colors. For example, you can put your results into a table like this, right? A bar diagram, it looks very nice, with all colors and etc. But if you're writing a manuscript, this is not preferable. I mean, I would prefer to have this one, because if I want to work on this topic, if I take your manuscript, I won't be able to understand whether you have 90% or 92%. What is this green? Is it 2%, 1%? You know, what is this green and this green? Are they the same or not? So probably this is not the best way to write it in a manuscript. And the table, you can see, you know, what you find out. So sometimes tables are better in manuscript. But when you're presenting it in a conference, a graphic is much better. So these are like your choices, and to make the readers and the editors and the reviewers, everyone's life easy, more understandable, more trackable. Is your job basically to make your manuscript more readable. So a figure or a bar diagram is better for presentations. I can easily show you, okay, this green is the highest here. But in a manuscript, you may want to read it. You see some 0.2 here, 0.2 there, 0.5 here. So you can distinguish maybe 6.8 and 4.2 here, 6.8, 4.2. No, it will take a lot of effort to read it. But yes, this is the case. And graphics. So this is a bad example. What do you think is bad in this graphic? So it is written here actually, so why do you think this is a bad example? So this is a graphic, so something arbitrary units to some promoter weight %. So the first of all, the legend is poorly. So what's PEC and TR? If you see it for the first time, you can't make any sense of this. So if you take the manuscript, so paper published, print it, and then go to this graphic, what's this? What's PCR, FTR, UC? And what are all these dots and things? Okay, slow it down. It's not very clear. What is where? Too much data, too many points. So how can we? There are no trend lines. How can we make it better? So first you can put less, to be able to see it clearly. Then you can put some trend lines to show you see. I can see now two of the rooms. And then the legend is much clearer. I don't need any other explanation. It's like potassium promoted palladium on magnesium oxide. So anyone who's a catalysis person will understand what this is. Okay, and then this difference is very clear. One is calcite, the other one is uncalcite. The calcite is an optimal here, the uncalcite is an optimal here. I don't need to read the text, the rest of the text. And you see now, if I put these two also into this figure, you won't be able to distinguish. But nowadays, you split it very easily. Oh, this is palladium, oh, this is also palladium. But this is not magnesium, this is not aluminum. Oh, very wrong, It's very nicely displayed. So this is, of course, if you look at your results and if you think that it is very crowded, for sure it will be crowded for someone else who doesn't know it. It's already crowded for you. Okay, so this time use your own judgment. So look at your graph after you make it, maybe give it a couple of days and look at it again. And then if you find it really not very descriptive, very crowded, it's probably crowded and not very descriptive for someone else's account. So that's why you can try to make it more clearer, more organized, more descriptive, and it will be more readable, okay, and more publishable. So discussion after results, clear tables and figures. In the discussion, you describe how your results relate to the aims, hypotheses. So you aim to do something, and then you find these results. Just show the results, and in the discussion you can describe how they fit or not fit to what you were expecting, and how they are related to others' work. So in the discussion part, you can put more references. You can refer more articles and say that look, our results confirming this, which we can find in or they are in controversy, like they are inconsistent with some other guy's results. So all possible interpretations. So it's just like the interpretations. There are some things like if you introduce something for the first time in discussion, it is usually not very well accepted. So you need to introduce early. Just start something there. And another thing is like people do this. It's still published in many articles, but like grand statements. Like. This will massively reduce malaria, for example, this kind of things involved. This will solve the energy problem of the world. This will make CO2 event of the past. We see such things, people write and then they're accepted and they are published, but they are a little bit exaggeration. It's better to avoid such exaggerations, I say. And in the conclusion, you just put them into a context, so it's more general. So this discussion is more specific, conclusions are more general. So you can describe your principal findings, not everything, and then how it is advanced the field, a couple of sentences like where it fits. So it's like reflection of the introduction actually. And to avoid, it's very difficult to avoid repetition, but you need to rewrite what you wrote before without repeating. This is the difficulty. And then sometimes speculation, okay, this will help this will help that, this will make future better. We speculate, but over speculative is not really accepted, and do not overemphasize also. Okay, this will make the chemical industry green as possible, and in my work, the whole chemical industry will transform. These are a little bit too much as well. So. Now, after all these sections, your manuscript is almost ready, but your job hasn't finished yet. There are some more final steps, as we all know. So one of the questions which everyone thinks about is like, okay, who are the authors? What is the order of the authors? Who will be the authors in this article? So who's an author? Somebody who substantially contributes to the work is an author, concept, research, data acquisition, analysis, interpretation, writing. These are the authors. Who drafts the article, who revises the article, who basically writes the article, or revises it critically, etc., is an author, and gives an approval, like supervisor, etc. So in general, authors are responsible for the work which is done. Okay, so, and someone is not responsible for the work is done, but helped you in this period. So it can be just acknowledged. Okay, so you can check the guidelines from different societies, like Royal Society of Chemistry, RSC, or Journal of American Chemical Society. They have these guidelines, like whether you should include someone as author or not. It's like a gray area, but we should think about it, like whether I should say include as an author or acknowledge only. So acknowledgements, you acknowledge technicians, for example, with the work, if it's their job and if they are doing it, they just do the work and give you the data. We prefer sometimes to acknowledge that, unless they do drawing, describing, telling you like what we find out there, then it becomes analysis, right? So if he's analyzing the results, then author is maybe more appropriate. But if he is just measuring with just the water, using the equipment and giving you the data, you may just acknowledge it. X, Y, measured TM and NMR for us. Thank you for this measurements. Blah blah, measured ET for us. Thank you for this measurements. But if you draw in, if you tell you like, oh, this is here, oh, I need to measure it again because of this and that. If he is analyzing it, then it's like your decision to make the author or not. Just any technician pressing the button using the equipment, it could be acknowledged, and anyone else who provided help, like someone, maybe some technician, someone else who provided technical help. And then, of course, we need to acknowledge the sources of funding. Nowadays, it's very critical. There are sometimes in some journals there is a separate section for funders, and statewide people have been acknowledged, and asked they published also before we acknowledge them. So you can just send an email, and usually you are afraid that he may not reply in time and you want to submit your manuscript. So his trick is like, if I don't hear from you by the end of Friday, I would assume that you are happy with me to acknowledge my article. Thank you very much. And if he doesn't reply to you, you submit it in like 2-3 days. So don't write that please reply to me, I will not submit until you reply to me. That's usually difficult. If I don't hear from you in 3 days, I will assume that you have accepted and this is fine with you, I will proceed. And that's it. So just one email will save your life. You know, if someone says, oh, he didn't write my name or he didn't acknowledge me, you didn't want to write this statement, maybe author just acknowledge. You can also send this email and it comes with, oh, write me as author, then you are in trouble. But if it doesn't come back, if this is happening, you can just submit, you know. So yes, this is kind of the permission. But don't submit without permission. I mean, it usually helps you later to avoid any conflict or anything. So references, of course, correct format is very important, and reference style, we obey the reference style, and to avoid citing some things which other people should do.
Yeah.
Whatever you do usually. Not much left, I think. You should have on part of this one. Yeah. Maybe we can have a coffee and then.
This is Azad. Azad. But it's okay. Let's continue.
Okay. So like, don't try to avoid citing things which are not really, how to say, be able to find. You know, if you cannot find, if someone else cannot find, you can avoid. Like in local languages nowadays, for example, there are lots of publications in China in Chinese language. Sometimes students write it in their CVs or send it as attachments to me, for example. I have no idea. I can't read it like so this local language, unfortunately, is not very useful. So I don't recommend an excessive self-citation. Just look at it. Only relevant papers. I'm sure in one way or another you find a couple of your articles relevant, but try to don't overdo it. Okay, you may put there as much as you can, I'm sure, but not excessive. So yes, check the style carefully. Usually the problem starts when you want to refer them in the text. You know, what should I write? As discussed by Richard, as discussed by F. Richard, as discussed by Richard et al., as discussed by Richard and Wang, as discussed by Wang and Coworker, which one should I write? So all of them are okay, all of them are acceptable. You can pick one or the other. So the reference could be like Richard, F. Richard, A. and but there are many ways to refer it. Sometimes we are not sure which one is best to use. Yeah, they are all okay. So you can use one of them. If you want to use, for example, some other author and you want to write his name, Funk and co-workers, like for example, Nazaruddin and co-workers in the previous work, you don't want to write their Sankar, you know, discussed by Sankar, you want to write Nazaruddin, right? It's discussed by Nazaruddin and co-workers, it's fine. You can write that Nazaruddin is for Sankar. So, yeah, this is the way to do it, you know. So, or instead of Sankar et al., right? Nazaruddin et al. Et al. Is like antidote and people who work with them. So yes, supplementary information is the last bit. So you put there anything like data, raw data, additional information. Nowadays they are very accessible. All the data, all the tables, don't worry about their format, S.Pd, and it will be available after. There's nothing which fits directly to your manuscript, but not necessarily need to be there. Can go to supplementary information. This is usually things. But nowadays there is very important part, graphical abstract. It should be one figure, it should capture the work, and it should be really attractive. People look at graphical abstract, so it should capture attention. It's a small one. Check for the guide for authors, but it should be visually attractive. So don't think about it too much about how scientific it is. It doesn't need to be scientific at all. So it should be just attractive. You know, nice, attractive person to read your article further and capture quickly like what we have done. So ethics, of course, sometimes analytical behavior can make you like banned from some certain journals or publishers. So what it is, it's like same article submitted to different journals at the same time. So if they figure out this one that's not really nice, you need to wait for the result and then submit the other one. So and plagiarism and that kind of data fabrication and falsification, etc. You may find some data which is not reproducible. You may have done an experiment once and you may find something and you may want to publish it. It's fine. The wrong thing is like if you just put there a dot which you didn't measure it. Okay, you can find a dot which is really like out of something. You may try it again and again and you may not get it again. That is fine. That's like an unreproducible result. The whole thing is, to make a graph from nothing. Okay, so that's difficult. If someone, did you measure these things? Yes, where is it? When did you measure? So if you cannot answer these questions, don't put it into a journal. It's too risky, really too risky. It doesn't work. And there are like withdrawals from like top journals, and they are everywhere. They lost their career. Like top professors from top universities lost all what they have, all their reputation, career. So it doesn't work. Final checks, of course, check before submitting. Nowadays, there are a lot of spell checkers, and some journals even recommend writers to use AI. I heard from one of my colleagues that he received the cover letter the author write that we wrote it by ourselves first, and then we used ChatGPT to improve it further. So they even write it to the cover letter that they used it. It's fine, editors are okay with it. So you can use the something. It's just changing the language. You can write it and then put it there. It will just make some changes. If you like it, you accept these changes. If you don't like it, you know that sometimes it creates something strange. But this AI is very good, especially for international people like ourselves. English is not our mother tongue. It's citing because there is a gap between the native speakers and the international speakers. This is very helpful tool. I mean, I use it, I recommend to use it, because it doesn't generate something from scratch. So you need to write first. You can ask it to generate something from scratch. You see that it gives you really wrong things. But you can use it to generate a template for you to write for. So it's a whole new another lecture probably talking about how to use AI. But I recommend have a look at the tools on the internet. It's best is ask it like to generate a template. I'm going to write a paper on this topic. Give me some ideas. It will give you a very nice template, very nice start, but you need to write it. That's unfortunately it's not that level. Just to give the result and to write the article. It doesn't happen. I tried, it does not working like that. So unfortunately, there are some editing services. Some people pay money to edit, to get their articles edited. Yeah, if you have a lot of money, you can do it. I mean, that is not really essential. You can do it by yourself. And always before submission, check the guide for authors, not. And this is what the editors usually think. They are a little bit slow, like, why should I pay attention if the author shouldn't pay attention to this author? And they talk this way usually, like from a higher level. They forget that they were also submitting articles once upon a time in these journals. But once they become editors, they usually think in this way, oh, this is like very full, so not very well thought. How should I pay attention to this check? So they are a little bit arrogant. So unfortunately, we are like submitters, authors working against this kind of arrogance. This is a difficulty. I don't say this easy, but the way to overcome this is to be confident with yourself that you paid enough attention, and you worked on it enough, and you made it as great as possible with the best effort that you've spent, and then you ignore this. Okay, but this is how the journal is not really easy after following all these guidelines, layout, what is the proper length of an article. Usually it's like recommended around 20 to 30 pages, with a double spacing, 12 points, times 2 popular, etc. This is like I feel like don't go above 30, okay? So it's too long. Okay, So if you, no one will read 50 pages for a normal article. So it's too much, but 25 to 30 pages is usually okay, including everything like graphics, abstract, etc., etc. Okay, so if you want to make it shorter, like 3,000 words or 5 graphics, but if you read for back for authors, they write it there specifically for publications, like you can't put more than 3, you can't put more than 3,000 words, etc. So submission nowadays, you need to write a cover letter also. It's just one A4 page to the editor. It should convince the editor that he should publish your article. That is the cover letter. So it's like depends on you. But how to do it? Like you should include the editor's name if you know it. You can search for the dear professor article. Please find the Dutch article which is titled this, and then we want it published in your journal. Please accept our journal because our manuscript because it's in this research area which your journal is publishing. We find these things very important and significant that we think are important before submitting it. But this cover letter is quite needed now because of this. Please publish it because of this reason. So you need to write a cover letter as well. So I think after this is like what to do when your article is rejected and when you ask for when they ask for a revision. So don't take it personally. Okay, so it could be like lottery. So try to understand if there is any specific reason for the rejection, and does it need more data? Does it need a more appropriate journal? Most of the time, it needs to be submitted somewhere else, right? So the editors reject it for no reason, and then you resubmit it. So revisions are more time taking. To get a revision, you need to study the reviewers' comments and prepare a detailed letter for every answer. So you need to respond to all of the comments. So don't miss any comments. So that's usually a reason to reject. So even if you don't agree, you can write that we don't agree to the reviewer on this topic in a polite way. Okay, so I have an example, for example, like, and this is like a normal way, like you can write in different colors and different the reviewers, okay, a different color for your thing. But for example, if the reviewer writes that the reviewer is clearly ignorant of the word of blah blah, who showed that the electric bill is blah blah. Don't start fighting with the reviewer. Okay, the reviewer is clearly ignorant. The reviewer is clearly stupid, and he didn't know this word, and that's why you rejected it. But this is wrong. Don't do this. It's not recommended. Do it in a more polite way. Thank you for your comment. However, we feel that the assumption in our model is supported by the recent word, by this one, and show that this. Okay, so don't fight it and say that, oh, you don't know this word, it's correct. Say that, thank you for your comment. Probably you didn't know this. We believe that our work is supported by this word. Maybe you are not aware of this one, So we agree about it. We understand your comment. Thank you for it. You read what you wrote. Maybe you should read this article as well. In a gentle way, you can say, and hopefully it is accepted. In the end, this is what we all want. It's all this process. It's really tiring and horrible. And everything starts with planning. So plan before acting and discussing with your supervisor for the students, and then write experimental result and discuss it with your supervisor, and then write discussion around discuss it with your supervisor, and then finish the manuscript and discuss it with your supervisor. Okay, so the critical bit for the students are like discuss it with your supervisor. Okay, thank you very much. That is all. I hope you enjoyed some things. Yes. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Please give a big applause first. Now it is time is 11:57. So the restaurant is open to 12:00. But we have still time, I think, if you want to discuss. This is very interesting, the slide. I just have a lot of smile because
reflect on myself as a scientist. It's difficult with the companies very order. Sometimes I just feel I want to feedback. I want to keep the fight. This is a fight back. Rather than feedback, fight back. Because sometimes the reviews said very often that's like we.
'Cause I can't take this pain forever, and you won't.